Our purpose at WE is to change the dismal statistics of our people, particularly Māori and Pasifika people. We do this through helping small and medium-sized businesses to thrive. Our businesses need our help. So many have felt the pressures of lockdown and are facing challenges that they've never faced before. Challenges that are impacting their livelihoods. That is why we're bringing you this series to share stories of the people behind our businesses, their successes, their failures, their challenges, and their triumphs.
If you are already in business, we hope you will be inspired. Perhaps someone will share one piece of gold that makes a difference in your business. If you've been thinking about starting a business, we hope that you will be motivated to start your own business venture.
We hope that by sharing these stories, we can help small businesses on the road to recovery all across New Zealand, Australia, and the Pacific.
So grab your cup of tea and whakarongo mai.
Kia ora te whānau nau mai, haere mai. Welcome to our cup of tea this evening. So this evening I've got a guy who knows a whole lot about LinkedIn. So if you're into LinkedIn or if you're not on LinkedIn, then you need to watch this one. His name is Stanley Henry. So welcome, Stanley. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, how are you? Kia ora. How are we?
Yeah, thanks, very well. Thank you. Thank you. So attention seeker. Now, we know it's a little bit about LinkedIn. So tell us a little bit more. What is attention seeker?
So attention seeker was born out of sort of my growth in my journey into business, and it was about finding attention. And that whole concept of if you can find people's attention, you can market to them, you can sell to them. It just so happens that LinkedIn is a great place to find people's attention who are in business. And so we focused on LinkedIn when we did this and built this business. And so that's really what it's about. Attention seeker is just a play on some words. It's a memorable tagline. I guess it was attention seeking itself. And LinkedIn as a platform is growing. It's a professional platform, and we find that there's just a really great space to generate and drive B2B businesses. Also to be able to share stories in B2C. It's a different type of marketing with B2C, but it's still a great space to be able to share your story as a business owner with the rest of the business and professional community. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's not rocket science. It's really simple. We stay in our lane. We're really hyper specialized in what we do with LinkedIn. We don't sort of deviate too much, and we just try to help people find undervalued attention.
So I think that some people might think that LinkedIn is really more B2B because there's a lot of business owners on there, but you have touched on that it can be also B2C. How can you make LinkedIn work if you're a B2C?
Yeah, good question. There's a number of ways. I think that the main way that you can do it B2C is finding partnerships. So finding strategic partnerships that you need in your B2C business. So let's say, for instance, you manufactured shoes, or you had a shoe company, right? You might want to find people who can help you manufacture those shoes. It might be people who can help you market them. It might be people who can help you distribute them in other countries. So finding strategic partnerships is a really great way to utilize LinkedIn in a B2C model. Otherwise, just sharing your journey as the business owner in B2C is really powerful. And there are a ton of great examples, especially in New Zealand, actually in Auckland, and people I've met who are B2C businesses, but what they've done is they've shared their journey whilst building their B2C business. And from that, they've been able to gain a lot of, I guess, connections with different people who then go on and tell other people about their products and things like that. So it's sort of that word of mouth branding that they get out of it. And that there sort of gives them some credibility as one of the sort of leaders or thought leaders in the space that they control. It's not necessarily going to help them go and find big contracts, but it might help them just get brand awareness and get their name out there and find a bit about the person behind the brand or behind the B2C business. That's probably the best way to use it. But from the sort of strategic partnership level, that there can be huge. We have clients who we've helped find, distribution channels in multiple countries around the world. They've wanted to reach out to people in the US and UK. which otherwise they would never been able to find if they were trying to just go through Google and find the people that they wanted to go for. They always find a company, right? You always get blocked by this company trying to find these distributors. Here you can connect with the exact person you need to speak to and start a human conversation with them, and through that be able to hopefully, do business together.
What I love about LinkedIn is that it's acceptable for you to message somebody, and you can look up who the big boss is that you actually need to speak to, and bypass the secretary or the person who filters through the emails, and go directly to them. And because LinkedIn isn't so starting to get worse, my private inbox is definitely starting to fill up, but it's nothing like my email inbox. So it's a whole lot quieter. It's a whole lot easier to actually get in touch with the people you want to get in touch with.
For sure. Yeah. And that's it. And that's what we encourage most of our clients, is what we help them do when we manage their profiles for them. Starting those conversations with people is what you do. The best way to think about it, we think of LinkedIn as a networking event, and everything we do on the platform is what we do at a networking event, right? And so if you were to go to a networking event, it's absolutely okay for you to walk up to anyone in that room and say hello, and then start talking to them about business, because they understand that when they're there at that networking event, it's a professional event. It's about business. It's about professional services and everything there. And so if you walk up to them and have a conversation, it's so okay to have that business one-to-one conversation. You don't have to, step on any eggshells or anything. You can just go straight in for it, right? So if we take that same approach to LinkedIn, that's what you can do in that space, because everyone's on the platform with a professional mindset, a business mindset. So when you go and talk to them about business, they're going to talk back to you about business. And because of that sort of mindset that they have on the platform, you can literally talk to anyone. There's been some amazing people that I've been able to have conversations with through the platform that you would never have. There's just no other way you'd ever talk to them. There's just no other way you'd ever have an opportunity to be in the same room as that person. And one of the things I found over lockdown, when I was obviously, stuck in a room, 24 hours a day, is that I was just messaging random people that I wanted to have a chat with, that I'd read a book of theirs or I'd read stuff. And I did that all around the world. And I was having some amazing conversations with people on LinkedIn and jumping onto Zoom calls with them, just because everyone was in lockdown. And so everyone was willing to have a chat with you. So yeah, you're right. It's so easy to talk to whoever you want on the platform, and that's one of our key. It's one of the key things we do on the platform for our clients, to help them break through and talk to the exact person they need to get that deal done.
I liked that, like a networking event, because I guess, like you were saying, with lockdown, and even at the moment, we can't really have too many big gatherings, and a lot of our events have been cancelled. This is one way that we can still network and just do it virtually. And it's quite different to Facebook, because like you were saying, it's a professional space. Facebook, you don't go messaging someone's private page asking for business.
No, there's just no way. I always use that analogy when I talk to people about it, because if you do that on Facebook, that's just weird. That's really weird. And it's funny, right? Because they are just the same thing, but there's a psychology that changes when you're on the platform. Yeah, you got to know your place. And actually, that is a real good point to click into, is because most people know Facebook, and so they understand that concept. That's really weird. You can't just message any random person. And so we have a lot of clients who, when they come over to LinkedIn and they're doing this, they get really nervous. They get really caught up in it, because they think, no, you can't do that. We've never done that anywhere else. There's no other platform we can do that. But once they start doing it and they get into it and they do a little bit more, they start to realize that a lot of the responses coming back are real positive, and there's all these people wanting to have these conversations. And it just takes a little time. When I first started using the platform, I was the same. I was a little bit nervous about it. I was like, I can't believe I'm going to message this person. But you never get any hate. No one on the platform's ever going to abuse you for reaching out to them. They're just going to ignore if they don't want to be a part of it. And then those who do, and do want to talk to you, and they see some value in that relationship. I mean, I've met some amazing and had some amazing conversations with people on it. And this whole business that I've built since being back in New Zealand has all been done through LinkedIn. All my, either directly or indirectly, every piece of business I've ever had has come through the platform. So I highly recommend it. I think for everyone, you should at least have a profile, and you should at least be connecting to the people that you need or want to talk to.
What are your thoughts on accepting people and connecting with people on LinkedIn? So I know, like for me personally in Facebook, I don't just connect with anybody. But on LinkedIn, it's quite different. But, some people still take that same mentality across to LinkedIn and think, I don't know you, so I'm not going to connect with you. What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I sort of have a mixed view on it. I think that it's an individual decision. I don't think that what I say today is the be all and end all. I think everyone has to make their own decision on how they're going to accept and send connections. But what I do know is that accepting all these random people's connections who send things to you, it can't hurt you. It's not going to hurt you. So if you want to do it. You can always block them later. You can always remove people. I think this is something that a lot of people always forget, is that it is still your feed. And if you connect with someone and then you decide they're not the right person, you can just ignore them and block them or remove them as a connection. But from my point of view, I think, like with me and who I connect with, most people who send me a connection request, I will accept. There are very few people I don't. The only time I probably won't is when I really see that there's no sort of benefit for the two of us to be connected. I can't see how that will work. But that's not often, how do I put it? That's not often a common thing. Because one thing that is, what people don't realize is that, or don't really think about on LinkedIn compared to Facebook, is the degrees of separation that you have with other people and how that opens you up to meet and connect with new people. So when I say that, if I'm connected with someone, that all their connections become my second connections, and it opens you up so you can actually see them. And if you don't have that degree of separation with people, you quite often can't even see them on the platform. You have to have seconds and third degree connections to be able to even see some people. And so there might be people that you want to meet. There might be these amazing people you need to connect with and build these networks with, but you don't have any direct path to them. So LinkedIn's not going to show you them, and so you'll miss out. And so if I have these people who just go around connecting with lots of people, and I see them and I think, there's no way I'm going to do any business with them, but I have a look at their profile and I'll see who they're connected with, and I think, oh, look, they're really highly connected in this particular industry, in this geography. There are some people there that I want to talk to. Maybe, I'm using their connection as a way of reaching other people. So look, it's always, you got to do it for yourself and what it is. That's my take on it. But at the end of the day, you just have to do what you think is right and understand that the thing I can't understand with a lot of people is they forget you can just delete that person later on if you don't like it. Like, what have you got to lose? You can't get hurt from it, and you can always reverse it. So yeah, go for gold. That's my view.
I do the same. And I also think if we're not putting our personal information on there, so it's not like I'm posting pictures of my children or where I am this weekend. So it's not like, they're going to be able to steal details or that sort of stuff. And, so I think, it is like you said, it's a professional network. And if you don't like them, I've said yes to people and had random, hey, are you married messages? And like, gone.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my gosh. No, look, the other thing I always try to say to a lot of people is that you spend, so many businesses spend a ton of money on marketing. And what are they trying to do with that marketing? They're trying to put themselves in front of other people. And for the most part, they just want as many people seeing their things as possible. But then some random person will connect with them. They're like, oh, no, not you. Like, all these people are fine, but not you. Like, you don't know who your next customer is going to be. Just accept everyone. If something goes bad and they ask you to marry you, just delete them. Like, simple as that. And you'll never have to see them again. You can block them and they'll never show up on your feed ever again.
Yeah. Easy as. Now, Stanley, how did you even get into this in the first place? So why LinkedIn? Why this? Like, it's very niche. It's not like you're going out there saying, hey, look, I'm going to help you with all your social media channels. You're saying, I actually am an expert in LinkedIn and I can help you on LinkedIn. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, it's a fairly long story. It started off, so I used to run hotels for a living. I was a general manager of hotels, and before that, I ran food and beverage operations. And when I was a general manager, so a lot of the hotels I worked at, conferences and events and corporate contracts is a massive part of hotels. It's the bread and butter of a hotel industry, and the best way to get business in that corporate and conferencing space and event space it's a B2B relationship, right? It's not a B2C model. It's all B2B. It's connecting with the right people and the right companies who make the decisions on booking those hotel rooms or those events. And so I met a guy in Australia who taught me everything I knew. So he had a course on how to do it. At the time, to be honest, I thought it was a bit of a scam, but I thought I'd give it a go. We needed something else. We needed an edge to sort of find a different way to do marketing. Google ads, Facebook ads are very expensive. The big players in the game, Expedia, Booking.com, all the big conglomerates of venue finders and stuff were just eating up all the bids on Google and that. And so we needed something different. So we got a guy, he taught me how to do it. And I think we were 6 weeks in of trialing LinkedIn and what we're doing. And we had 67K worth of deposits in our bank account from corporate events. And at that moment, when I actually summed up the numbers, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, there's something here, this is a viable method to finding this B2B business. So we just refined it, kept using it, growing it out. And then about a year later, I had left my job and I decided that I wanted to move back to New Zealand. I had been gone for 12 years. I traveled the world and worked everywhere. And I decided that it was time to come home for a bit and start a business. I'd been given an opportunity. Well, my brother gave my partner an opportunity to come and work as a mortgage advisor. So she took that up to come work with him. And then I decided that I would start up I thought that I could start up a business strategy, business advisory. I'd run all these multi-million-dollar operations and things, and I thought I had all this experience, and I did. But then when I got to New Zealand and I started finding clients, they kept asking me, how are you finding your clients? You're just back to New Zealand, you haven't been here for 12 years. Like, how have you done this? And I said, well, I've used LinkedIn. Like, how else do you find clients? And I had been using LinkedIn for so long now, I had forgotten that it was this thing that not everyone did. And clients just looked at me blankly and going, oh, no, you're talking about LinkedIn is for recruitment. So like, what are you doing and how are you doing it? And so they started asking me, can you show me that? Like, we want to learn how to do that. We want to do this. So we did it. We started doing a little bit of it here and there until eventually it became the bulk of what we were doing. And then as time went on, we just kept refining the process and refining what we did and building on it, and trying to turn it into a product as opposed to just some coaching model, which is not what I really wanted to do. And then the lockdown happened. End of March, all the contracts we had been working on at that time everyone just said, no, we're not doing any of this business. So all the business strategy stuff had fallen away. All the contracts we'd been working on for the last 6 months and things. And I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? So then we decided over that period, it took about 2 weeks. I was just, I just decided that I'm just going to play video games and the start of lockdown. I'm just going to forget about everything, forget about all the troubles and all the business we'd just lost. And then something happened where it just clicked, where I realized the missing link in what we were selling to people from a LinkedIn marketing perspective. And we realized that people who want us to help them with their LinkedIn want us to do the whole thing, want us to make it easy for them. They didn't want it to be something that they had to invest a lot of time in because they're used to doing Google ads and Facebook ads and all these sorts of things where they can just turn on a budget and it just goes. And so we just figured that solution out, changed it all over into a model now where, our clients have to give very little to us to have this program work and what we do, and we manage their solutions for them. And then from that, it just sort of started taking off, and we've just been able to just build on that after strength. I realized at the time that I only knew LinkedIn as well. I didn't know Google and Facebook and all that. I understood them enough that what they could do, and I'd use them in hotels and things like that, but I'd always paid someone else to do it for me. Whereas LinkedIn, the guy who taught me LinkedIn, he taught me LinkedIn. So it was the only thing I really knew. And that's why I didn't decide at that time to try anything else. I thought, nah, let's go all in on LinkedIn. I know I can do it. No one else is really doing it to the level where we were playing in. And just, put I went all in on it. I just put everything in and it worked out. So yeah, I guess that's how I fell into it.
There's something really special about knowing exactly what you are good at. And one of the things that I hear often from people that I've been interviewing is to stick to what you are good at. And if you do that, then you're going to have loads of customers because it's not confusing. Like, people just know what you're good at. I need that. I need someone to help me with my LinkedIn. Stanley is the dude that I go and see.
Yeah, totally. Look, we talk about that with our customers all the time about, I can do this and I can do that and I can do this. And it's like, well, you might be able to, but as soon as you offer all of that, you actually offer nothing. And at the BNI group that I'm a part of, we had a guest speaker who put a really good analogy, and he said to the whole group, he's like, okay, if I ask you a question right now, how many white things do you have in your fridge? Can you answer me? Can you give me an absolute number? And most people in the room just started shaking their heads. They're like, oh, I don't know, maybe a few, I'm not too sure. And then he asked, how many bottles of milk do you have in your fridge? And everyone's like, oh, I've got one. Oh, I don't have any, and they all knew. And because even though bottles of milk are usually a white thing in your fridge, you can't think of all of them. But as soon as you get real specific on that one product, easy. Everyone knows, oh yeah, I've got one, I've got two, or whatever it is. So I really like that analogy, because whenever I ask other people, and if there's anyone in the audience and you sort of think about it for yourself, it's quite hard. Like, even now, I can't think of how many white things I've got in my fridge, but I know that we've got one bottle of milk. And so I think about that when you're trying to market yourself. As soon as you say all these different things about a topic, like if your websites and Facebook and Google and LinkedIn and email marketing and all these sorts of things, it's almost like people can't see it. They all just become blurred and they're not sure which one that they need. And then, they think, oh, which do I need some of this? Do I need some of that? Whereas when I have a conversation with people, it's like, look, I help you on LinkedIn. This is how we help you. This is the results that we get. We're a pretty data-driven business. I can tell you exactly, with what all our clients are doing. We can aggregate all the data and tell you, hey, this is what you can expect as an average of what everyone does. So they look at it, they're like, okay, it's LinkedIn. This is what I can expect to get for my money. Yes or no, and that's what the decision becomes with our clients. It's a yes or no question, not a, oh, maybe this and a maybe that. Oh, that's too confusing, maybe nothing. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused when they're starting their business. They want to do everything, but people can't choose then what it is, and they're not known for anything. And then people just walk away and find the specialist.
It's so true. So true. So look, throughout the time that you have been in business, are there people that you've had around you or that have supported you, that have helped you in your journey? So I know you told us that you had this person who just taught you LinkedIn, but is there anybody else that's been helping you over these past few years?
Yeah, plenty. I mean, if we think about it from my career, I definitely had a number of mentors and leaders throughout my career who are really influential. A lot of GMs I had. One mentor who was with me from the start of my journey in Australia up until early this year when he passed away is Vikas. Vikas was the guy who asked me, like, what do you want to do with your life? And pulled me out from being this young kid who was partying all the time to actually having a career. And that was the first big shift. And then he helped me place myself in the right places throughout that career and have that leadership journey. And then I had a couple of other influential people, but probably the next one was probably Rob McGuffick, my last boss, who took a punt on me and said, hey, you're a 29, 30-year-old kid. Do you want your first hotel? Do you want to manage your first pub, as he put it? And at the time I thought, crap, I had no intention of ever being at that point at that age. But he said, hey, look, you've done all this. You've done such a fantastic job in the food and beverage department throughout these years, and what you've done, let's give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? And he just took a punt on me. And that there was like a real critical point for me. And I actually I gave up drinking for 12 months when I got the job as a GM, as a way of going, look, I got to take this seriously if I'm going to do this. I was hospitality, so alcohol is a very easy thing to come by in hotels. And so to give it up for 12 months was a huge commitment for me. My partner Claire did it with me, but that journey of him telling me, hey, let's give it a go, and then giving up the alcohol as a way of trying to make the most of that first year really set me on my path from then on, and gave me a lot of self-awareness of where I needed to go and what I needed to do. So those two guys are definitely for my career. And then since this year, getting back to New Zealand, there are hundreds of people that I've met since being in New Zealand who have sort of helped drive these decisions and get me to where I am. But probably some of the people who have been close by are one of my best mates, Kyle. Kyle started this journey with me when I got back. We've been friends since school, and he had gone off and become the CFO of Human Rights Commission, and he had done all these, he had this fantastic career and this great leadership journey. And he's the antithesis of me, right? Like, I'm this crazy big visionary, run by the seat of my pants sort of guy, and he's, your accountants, he's a typical accountant. He's really methodical. He thinks through things. He asks lots of questions, and that's not who I was. And so he was a real good balance for me, and that kept me grounded, I suppose, throughout this journey. But honestly, there is just so many people. There's all the guys that we do stuff with Nesian Network, Peter and Kristen and India. Those three guys have been huge. There's Miriam. Miriam's been amazing, and she introduced us to Toastmasters, and Toastmasters was a big thing for us, for Claire and I, to get up and do public speaking. BNI, my BNI chapter that I have, Alex Paul, who invited me there to be a part of that. I didn't know what BNI was, and now I've got this community of like-minded business people who I get to meet every Friday, and they've just been this great support network, and together we've really formed a really great bond. We're a new chapter when I started, so it's been really good. So look, there's just so many people, and I've probably missed a whole bunch of them. I mean, my brothers, I probably need to tell them. I mean, my brother Wayne, he's been huge. Him and his partner Karen, they gave us our first break when they got here. They put us up in their house when we first moved back. They gave us that platform to have that security, that when we started this business, we had a safety net with them. So yeah, look, there's hundreds. I could sit here all night talking about the people who have helped me on this journey. It has not been something I've done on my own whatsoever. I owe a lot to a lot of people since getting back to New Zealand.
That's really cool. I think first and foremost, to do well in business, you've got to connect with people. But what I really do love is your gratitude for the people who have helped you to get you to where you are. And I don't think any of us are where we are without other people, but it's really awesome to acknowledge that and to be grateful for that. And, I think that sets you on a really good path. And you know that your success is not just that of yours, but that of many.
For sure. Yeah.
So look, we're coming up to 30 minutes, which happens really fast. I know. So look, if there was something that you wanted to share from your journey, or something that you've learned because it's something you've overcome, what is it that you would like to leave us with today?
To be honest, it's what you just mentioned is connecting with people, is put in the effort of connecting with people, as many people as possible. Have that coffee, go meet those people, especially if you're starting out in business. Like, don't think you have the answers. Don't think you know everything. Don't think you're too good to meet anyone. Even if that person's they're going to sell to you, go for it. Go be sold to. Learn what they're doing to sell to you, Just meet everyone. Everyone knows, who knows me closely, that when I first got back to New Zealand, I was literally doing about 20 to 30 meetups with people every week, and I was doing 4 or 5 networking events a night, and I met hundreds of people, and it was by far the best thing I ever did. It's paid dividends, and if I had to do it all over again, that's the only thing I would repeat.
And it's free.
So, yeah, exactly. Well, except my dad always taught me to pay for the coffee. So, yeah, a lot of coffee purchases. But, you know, it is a pretty cheap way to do it. Yeah.
Cheaper than the Google AdWords
That's for sure.
search engine optimizations and stuff, but also a better way to connect.
Yeah. And business is a lonely game, right? If you start a business on your own, or if a partner, it's just you two or you on your own. So why not meet all these awesome people and start all these new friendships? And, you know, it's actually pretty hard to make friends as an adult, you know, like making friends as an adult is like really weird. Like, so when I came back from being away from 12 years of New Zealand, most of my friends had left. So making friends was something we needed to do. We had to have a social life when we got here. So that helped that part too.
And what better than to have a whole bunch of business friends who understand what you're going through, who you can also learn off.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Stanley, that's been so insightful. In fact, one of the people that's watching today, I'll just bring up his comment. He reckons he's going to have to, he said, I got to talk to the bros. So there you go, Adrian Evans, one of our customers. And I'm sure I've been telling this guy to get onto LinkedIn. So there you go. Yeah. He's going to connect with you and help. And you know what? I might actually get you to do mine too, because it's so time consuming.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it, man. We've built the infrastructure for it. So let's go.
Awesome. So look, once again, thank you so much, Stanley. You've been incredible and so insightful. And anyone that is not on LinkedIn is now going and setting up a platform.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, well, good luck. And if anyone needs any tips, reach out. Always happy to share all our knowledge.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stanley. All right, everyone. So that's us for this week, because I am not doing Fridays anymore. I'm having a Friday off. And in fact, I've got my work function tomorrow night. So I'll be back. I know. I got to have a day off. So I'll be back on Monday with Frances Valentine from the Mind Lab and Tech Futures Lab. She will be our Kapu Tī corridor on Monday night. And we've got a beautiful week planned ahead of you for next week. So have a great weekend, everybody. And once again, Stanley, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.
Pātua whānau.